Okay, I'm going to do a video review on a game called Timeshift. It's a sci-fi first-person shooter, and it was developed by Saber Interactive, and it was published by Sierra Entertainment. Now, Saber Interactive, it's a smaller company. You probably haven't really heard of them much, but Sierra Entertainment, which is the publisher of the game, they're definitely more well-known, and they've published a ton of great games, and one game that they're actually going to be publishing pretty soon here is a game that looks awesome, and I can't wait to play it. It's called Prototype, and it's coming out for the PC, Xbox 360, and the PS3. Now on the Timeshift story a little bit, it starts out with a guy named Dr. Crone. He's the head of a research lab, and they were designing special time-shifting suits for the military. And basically, he ends up going crazy, and the lust for power takes him over, and he ends up stealing the prototype suit, blowing up the lab, and jumping back through time to 1939, where he basically gathers a group of followers and just starts wrecking havoc. And your character is sent back in time to pretty much stop him wearing the other time-shifting suit. And that's pretty much the gist of the story. I mean, there's not much to it. It's played out through a few small cutscenes, which are just really short and few and far between, which makes it really hard to tell what's actually going on in the story and what's happening.
I got your message. A business proposal, huh? I'm intrigued. See you at 8.
And the game could have definitely benefited from more of a story, and it would have brought the game to a much higher level. Probably the most noticeable feature of the game is the whole time-shifting thing, and you can pause, slow down, reverse time. The reverse time thing is actually really cool, because if you do something wrong, something you didn't really want to do, you can reverse time and fix your mistakes, or you could even maybe like shoot a barrel off the top of something, and then go over, jump on top of the barrel, and time reverse, and then ride it up on top of wherever you shot it off of, which is something pretty neat, and something that hasn't really been seen in games before. And you can use the time-shifting abilities in just tons of creative ways, and the developers took advantage of this, and they even threw in some puzzles in the game, which require you to use the time-shifting to be able to get through them. Like the one level has some rocket turrets, like a security system that you have to try to figure out to get through. And but most of the weapons in the game aren't too innovative, and the more or less variations of the typical first-person shooter weapons, with maybe a few exceptions like the EMF cannon or the surge gun. The EMF cannon is basically like a pistol-type weapon, and it shoots, I guess you could say, bursts of energy, and all the guns have an alternate fire, except for maybe like the crossbow, which alternate fire is pretty much zoom. And the other non-typical gun is the surge gun, which is like this big badass gun that shoots like electricity, and you don't really get that till later in the game, but it's kind of fun to play around with. The game doesn't have a cover system or the ability to run, which is kind of a letdown. You could really use a cover system in this game. But you can jump and you can crouch, so I mean, that's a plus, but really what first-person shooter doesn't have that. And the controls are typical first-person shooter style, with the exception of the whole time-shifting thing, which on the Xbox 360, you hold down the left bumper, and a little screen will pop up where you choose your ability from a menu, and it corresponds to the X, Y, B, and A buttons on the controller. And but the amount of time that you hold down the bumper before the menu pops up can be adjusted in the game's menu, which is a pretty big plus, because you don't want to have to sit there and hold the thing down forever for the menu to pop up while you're sitting there with guys shooting at you. So you can adjust that to like fraction of a second or second, whatever, you know. And as far as multiplayer goes, it doesn't really let you control like time completely throughout the whole level, because that would be stupid, and I don't think it would be very very feasible. I mean, for online play, I mean, can you imagine just everybody froze and kind of stupid, like I said. So, but what it does do is it gives you like a grenade type thing, which is when you throw it, it brings up this, like, it pops out like a bubble of time on the ground wherever you throw it, and it can be a bubble of time stop or time slow or time reverse, and anything that's in the bubble will be affected by it. And you can go around, you can pick up like energy packs which refill your time energy. And the online play modes consist of the typical deathmatch and capture the flag matches, but there's also a few additions like the King of Time, which the objective is to grab the time sphere, making you invincible to all time effects and making you the King of Time. And the other one is Meltdown Madness, which teams of players try to sabotage the other team's machine to win. Basically, if you sabotage it enough, it'll melt down or whatever, and then your team wins. The graphics in the game, they aren't really revolutionary, but they are very good. The character models look realistic, and the movement is pretty believable. The buildings and environments are well done, except for the buildings look a lot better than the outdoor environments do. Because the foliage, like the plants and stuff, if you get up close to them, they can look pretty blocky, and they don't really look too lifelike. The lighting effects are pretty good. And the one thing that I really love about the game is, like, if you pause or slow down time or whatever, and it's raining outside, the weather effects just look awesome. Like the rain, you can pause the rain and you can see like the droplets of rain like splashing or whatever, and it just looks really good. And the cutscenes, even though they're short, they're really well done as far as like the detail and the realisticness of them. So the few cutscenes that are in the game are worth watching. So I don't know, I'd sit there and watch them if I were you. Plus, you know what I mean, the story isn't really there, so you kind of need to watch the cutscenes to get any kind of story out of the game, because there really isn't any story in the game to begin with. So the few cutscenes that are there are kind of a need to watch. And the voice acting in the game, it's pretty well done, and there aren't many times where the voices seem like out of whack or out of place, and they're not overacted. They're not underacted, and most of the time they represent the mood pretty well. As far as like the sound effects, like the rain and the bullets hitting barrels and the walls and stuff, it seems like they took the time to actually pick some good sounds to go along with whatever was happening. So that's a plus. And overall, the game is, you know, it's a standard first-person shooter. The whole timing manipulation thing is definitely a new twist on things, and it doesn't completely make the game like stand out as much as it should because of some of the things in the game that could have been improved. But the whole time shifting thing is definitely something new, and it's worth at least renting the game, or, you know, if you can find the game cheap enough, even buying it. And once you beat the campaign mode, you know, you can still play it online. There's still enough people on the servers to where if you try to jump on, there's still going to be some people there playing. I can't guarantee for how long that's going to last, but the online play seems to be pretty fun, so hopefully there'll be people on there for a while. And that's pretty much what all I have to say about the game right now. I hope you enjoyed the review. I know it's probably not that great because it was my first one for the site so far, so if you have any ideas or comments, as long as they're positive and they're not like "F you, your stuff sucks" or whatever, just, you know, send me an email at furnaps@gmail.com or jeff@furnaps.com. And if you have any tips or anything on what I can do to make the reviews better, just let me know. And that's about it.